It's Wednesday night, and we're live from Oakdale, Washington, in the Educated Touch studio. Welcome to Ethics Outside the Box, with your host, Nathan Nordstrom. Special guests include you. Here he is, Nathan Nordstrom.
Hello, everyone. Hope everything's going well. We are live from Oakdale, Washington. If you don't know where Oakdale, Washington, it is in truly the middle of nowhere. We have a 1 million acres of wheat field in eastern Washington that we call the Palouse. The Palouse is an amazing area of rolling hills, and it's beautiful. I'm in a small town in Oakdale, Washington, of 423 or 5 people, something of that nature, and this is what I call home. So these are the wonders that a small town massage therapist gets to deal with. Now, I haven't always been in a small town. I've actually lived in large cities as well. But the key pieces for me is that I really do enjoy the opportunity to see what massage therapists get to deal with across the country. My current job is the director of massage therapy training for a company called Hand & Stone, which is a franchise that goes nationwide. But I really enjoy connecting with people and seeing all the wonders that are there. Whoa, you guys are all happy to be around. Hello, Leah and Robin. And yeah, Leah, we all love Tybee. I thought I looked familiar. Thank you, Jeremy. Gosh, you guys are all chiming in here. Hey, Nathan, made it again. Welcome, Marco. And we're going to start talking about some ethics. And I'm going to strive, once again, I'm going to strive to be on top of my feed for you guys. So if you guys want to connect and communicate, we're going to really kind of connect with this Facebook page and see if we can get you as my guest actually engaged in the conversation. So first thing that I want to talk about is our standard tools. So let me see if I can get us to the right spot. Remembering that one of the best tools that we have when it comes down to ethics is finding out what these standards are. Because when we can find our standards of ethics, then we'll actually start seeing what the expectation is for ethics. So that's my Facebook page with your guys' feeds on it, which, yeah, does that constitute small? I'd say 420 people in the middle of a wheat field 12 miles from any other town is small. It's just kind of my take on it. Marco, you might have a bigger understanding of what small is, but that's my version of small. So let's actually look at the standards that we're going to be talking about. I went to the National Certification Board of Therapeutic Massage and Body Workers website, NCBTMB.org. Went to the very bottom. I'll scroll on down to the very bottom. I obviously zoomed in so you can see it in bigger font and bigger print. Code of Ethics and Standard of Practice. Clicking on the Standard of Practice, it brings you to this page right here of what is the Standard of Practice. So Standard of Practice is a wonderful tool that we can use and we can connect with. It was revised in September of last year, of 2017. So it's fairly new in its revision, but we want to finish up. We're getting really close to the end of Standard 1, and we have S and T to go, and then next week we're going to go with U and V. But S and T is really kind of fun. Let me just read it real quick, and then we'll start having you guys kind of put some statements in and some ideas. Using the NCBTMB logo and certificate number on business cards, brochures, advertisements, and stationery only in a manner that is within established NCB guidelines. And then T is not duplicate the NCBTMB certificate for purposes other than for verification of the practitioner's certificates. You know, we're going to take these two different pieces because they really do have some implications not only in ethics but in business. And we're going to kind of talk about the ethical portion of that. And we're going to pull up some other ideas that kind of go along with that. But those are two pretty important pieces that we want to connect with. And Marco, you can poke fun whenever you want, buddy. That's totally fine. Yeah, so let's actually start by looking at that first piece and saying a standard S using the NCB logo and certificate number on business cards, brochures, advertisements, and stationery only in matters that it is within the established NCB guidelines. Well, it doesn't say the NCB guidelines, does it? It does before in the Code of Ethics. It also talks about it throughout, about the importance of making sure that you're putting it on only if you actually hold that certification, as well as if you're in trouble with the National Certification Board, you need to stop using it. So there are several guidelines that are there. But one thing that I really wanted to point out, and it's quite interesting to me, I've been teaching massage therapy school for a long time, and I saw a lot of new massage therapists getting ready to come out of school, and they were so excited because they could get their first business cards. And they got their first business cards, and they went to one of several places, but one of the places that I like to point out and poke fun at because I love them is Vistaprint. And so I've got their page right up here, nice Vistaprint page. And one of the things that most massage therapy students or graduates right out of school do is they go to Vistaprint because it's cheap, it's $8, and they can get a whole set of business cards, and they're excited about it. And the first thing they do is they go in and hit business cards and then search. They start searching the different domain here or designs, and they type in the word massage. Now, I want to remind people that when you type in the word massage, it's going to come up with pictures that relate to massage. I know that seems like common sense, just got to put it out there. When we look down on these massage business cards, now not all of these are only massage. They will actually have some of these for yoga and for several other things, but one of the tags that they have is massage therapy. Now, I had several students who came to me and they were so excited because they had just gotten their new business cards, and they were coming together and they were asking, oh, hey, what does your business card look like? What does your business card look like? And they all had it, and 2 or 3 of them had this exact same business card. And they kind of went, oh, wait, what is that? What does that mean? What does that look like? What is all of that perspective if you have 2 people with the exact same business card? I currently work for a company where the company has the same business cards, and we all want to have the same business cards so that they know that we have a unified brand. You know, if you're unifying your brand with someone else, that's going to change what the expectation is of you or what the expectation is of them. Now, even if it's not intentional and you have a different business name, just simply by having a specific picture or logo on it, it connects you with that brand. Branding yourself is an important piece. If you have a specific idea of what your brand should look like, you can then go through and look at what it is that you do and what is your purpose and what is your connection. All these things are really important to really kind of look at and figure out what's going to be best for you. Very similarly, if I got a business card from someone and it looked like this lady laying on a massage table with hands on her back with a purple sheet on and a pink background, I personally would think a different expectation than a person, say, with this little logo on it, just because of the look of the card. Yes, I can say that I'm judging people by the cover, but we also want to be looking at what are those things that we're branding and looking. Yes, I'm just looking down to make sure who all's joined. Ryan's good to have you. Eileen's good to have you. Or sorry, Ellen, Lisa. Hey, Vicky Stoddard, good to see you. Lorette, Corinne, Chris Todd. It's great to have you guys all with me. But business cards say something about you. And the logos with which you decide to put on your business card will say something about you as well. So if you have your professional association's logo on your business card, that brands you with that professional association. If you have your board certification on your business card, that brands you to as a board certified massage therapist, giving you more connection and responsibility to kind of hold true to yourself, to the standards with which you are committing yourself. So one of those great things that I've always told people is, if you want to hold yourself to a higher standard, let people know what your expectation is. By creating that expectation, you then are required in your own mind to hold true to it. If you make a goal and don't tell anyone, you're not really striving to get to that. You're hopefully able to maintain, and this is part of that process of peer pressure. You're giving yourself peer pressure by connecting with those people who you trust, and making sure that they understand what your expectations are and what you're doing. Anytime you look at what your logo says, and I want to pull up the NCB logo here real quick so that you guys can see what it looks like. Of course, I'm going to be sneaking around here real quick. Let's go to NCBTMB. Here's the website, and I'm just gonna go here and delete, because the homepage should have Mr. Ryan Hoyme right here, and he has a logo right over his shoulder called BCTMB. So this is the logo. Proud to be board certified, National Certification Board of Therapeutic Massage and Body Workers. This logo actually goes through and kind of, I mean, it looks like a good crest, a good seal, to really stabilize people and kind of remind them that they are holding true to it. So what if you had a different logo? What do logos or labels mean? This label has something very specific, as we're talking about that board certification. What is it that we want to see as massage therapists in making sure that we are held to a high standard and holding ourselves to a high standard? You know, if we are truly wanting to pursue massage therapy as a profession and wanting to hold it to its utmost category, we should be willing to push ourselves a little bit to make sure that we demonstrate that we are improving the industry of massage therapy. I've seen a lot of people do this in a lot of different ways. One of my favorites is anybody who volunteers. Oh, crud, Donna Salvo just joined. Hi, Donna. No, so anybody who's looking at progressing and helping the profession move forward is really trying to figure out what it is and what it means to support a profession. Professions are not made simply by money. It's not made by having a logo or a label. It's actually built on the back of volunteers. Majority of professions have a mandatory expectation of them that are license requirements, but then they go the other direction, and there's more to just the license requirements. There are people who believe in those expectations. And right now, our profession has a huge number of variety of volunteers going in many different directions. Some of those groups that I've connected with and really talked to, hey Mark, good to see you, Mark Hemingway. Good to see people connect with is the importance of, as a massage therapist, education. So the Alliance for Massage Therapy Education, AFMTE, is one group that really wants to help and stabilize and remind people about the importance of massage therapy education, and the importance of educating massage therapists and massage therapy professionals, so that as they go out into the field, they're actually doing the best that they possibly can and presenting themselves in a very successful way. You know, that's educational realm, and that's a huge group, and I thank them so much. Cherie Salvo, or Cherie Solon Mo. Cherie Solon Mo is one of my great examples who I've talked to many a times, and she's helped out with that group for years. Now, there's another group, the Commission on Massage Therapy Accreditation, also known as COMTA. Most people who've gone to massage therapy school have heard of COMTA. COMTA is a piece that kind of connects together the standardized education system. So a standardized educational requirement of COMTA requires a certain amount of education and experience of a massage therapist to teach. There's educational credentials and requirements. And COMTA has another large group of volunteers who are pushing to stabilize and improve the massage therapy profession simply by looking internally what it takes to make a massage therapist great. Those are many great things. Hey, Maureen, how are you? It's great. Glad you're here. Those are all tools that we look at and we say, okay, there's something else. The National Certification Board is another crew, and they're actually quite small now in their volunteer structure. I'm always pushing for groups to request volunteers to step in to help out and to kind of push forward. And so we're continuing to see those things. And they're currently who I'm working with and volunteering with. Yeah, I'm just getting casual with you. So there's also other groups like professional associations. The American Massage Therapy Association is one of those groups that really is getting pushing quite hard for professional standards. Hey, it's Ed Bolden. It's good to have you, Ed. And Jemima and Lisa and Kim. It's great to have you all. We're just talking about ethics. That's all we got here. But we're talking about the acronyms of ethics standards. You know, each time we start looking at different groups, we start looking at the volunteers who are putting forth themselves in different ways. And since Ed came on, I guess I can talk about the Federation of State Massage Therapy Boards is another volunteer structure. Actually, if we start looking at it, our governing bodies are considered volunteer structures in many states, where we have a board of or Oregon Board of Massage Therapy or a Washington State Board of Massage Therapy. These state licensing boards are manned by volunteers, and those are those people who are absolutely outstanding in supporting a unified understanding of what massage therapy is, especially right now, since we are striving to get to this point where nationwide we have some standards, some organization, and some understanding of what massage therapy is nationwide, including what those ethics are. I have regularly seen some really interesting things go on in our profession. One is neuromuscular therapy. I have gone to neuromuscular therapy classes on the East Coast. I've gone to neuromuscular therapy classes on the West Coast. And I've connected with massage therapists who have gone to neuromuscular therapy classes international over in Europe. And I hate to say it, but there's such a huge variety of concepts that we look at when we're looking at neuromuscular therapy. It's not one thing specific. It's actually a concept that is taught in many different ways. And so I usually say East Coast and West Coast NMT are not the same. And so if you go to California and you're asking for NMT, neuromuscular therapy, or you're in Florida and ask for neuromuscular therapy, you could get a complete different massage. So looking at that real lack of consistency, we want to see that in the massage therapy profession, we have consistency. And right now, when we have licensing in over 40-something states, we'd love to see all 50 states have licensure, as well as see all 50 states have a standard that is set and unified. Several groups have worked on this. The Federation of State Massage Therapy Boards has a, oh gosh, I'm gonna miss out on it, Ed. Maybe you want to toss in the name here, but it's a standardized Standard Practice Act or Model Practice Act. Hey, I got it before you did, Ed. Model Practice Act is a piece where they kind of look at these unifying pieces that are going to work and kind of connect with us. You know, those are things that really help us. Those are things that really connect us if we can do it right. Some of the other things that really help us is really having a large group that can visualize overhead, can really connect with, hey, you caught up, good, thank you. Connect with a lot of those pieces that we consider important. You know, anytime we have a ethical breach or even a legal breach of massage therapists, where massage therapists are not acting appropriately, they are illegal, they're not doing what they're supposed to, these are times that we have to really connect with our state licensing boards, our professional associations, our board certified bodies. These are the groups that are going to help us really refine our skill and help us weed out people who are not holding true to the standards with which we practice. It also changes the community and the culture of our society. If we don't step up and make sure that we're using appropriate branding to say, hey, as massage therapists, we are making sure that we're not confused as prostitutes. It's a pretty blatant, open statement, right? It's not a real hard thing to say, to feel comfortable saying. For most massage therapists, they can put that out there without any concern. But then we start looking at the ways with which our culture looks at us and says, okay, well, maybe they aren't so, maybe they aren't exactly who they say they are. And maybe they are prostitutes, or maybe they are this, or maybe they are that. You know, the best standing process that we can use is to really connect back to a professional look and a professional appeal. And so I know when I went to massage school, and I bet you guys can put some examples in here as well. We all have, sorry, Donna Salvo says, we all have to work together for our profession, together as one of our, together as one for our community. Without us all sticking together, we'll tear each other apart. And so being able to hold that, thank you, Ed, Donna, that's absolutely correct. We're stronger as a unified body. And without unifying and supporting, even if we don't agree in so many ways, sometimes we can connect and say, we really want to improve the culture, and we understand your direction. Our direction doesn't have to be contrary to your direction. It can support your direction in so many ways. So one of those pieces, going right back around to the purpose of today's, or the discussion point that we actually started with, is labeling and making sure that we have the right labels and we're kind of connecting with who we are. And specifically from the National Certification Board's Standard 1S, use the NCBTMB logo and certificate number on business cards, brochures, advertisements, and stationery only in a manner that is within established NCB guidelines. So not only that you're following the rules and making sure that you're within the standards and guidelines, that you're doing it right, but that you're connecting yourself to a brand that you feel presents massage therapy in a successful way. There's some strength there. There's a large piece that really, I think, gets lost in the mix so often. So let's go on to Standard T, because I like talking about duplication. Duplication. If I can, I'll put several of me on this as I go through. Not duplicate the NCBTMB certificate for purposes other than verification of the practitioner's credentials. So I'm wondering if anybody out there in Facebook world has had a problem looking at duplicates of licenses, of NCB certificates, of AMTA membership, of your professional liability coverage, of anything, certifications for specialties. You know, those are pieces that I'm shocked to say that there is people out there that want to pass themselves off as something they're not. Hey, Scott, thank you. I appreciate this is awesomeness. Pamela, it's great to have you. Daniel, great joining. Don, Debbie, it's good to see you. There are people who want to pass themselves off as something that they're not. So looking at duplications of your certification or your license, as your massage license, that's also one thing that I found state by state, there are different standards. Uh-oh, Terry Hurt has joined. Hi, Terry. I hope everything's okay, buddy. So there are standards, and there's this piece where we have to start looking at and saying, if in some states it is illegal to copy your license and you have to have an official copy posted in your spa, that would be a huge, huge piece that you have to follow to make sure that you're doing. If they allow a copy to go over, then we can do that. You know, Donna Sarvello says, let's talk about the difference between certificate, certification, and license. You have us all on, I'm assuming, edge. So that is a huge piece. Just because you're licensed doesn't mean you're certified. And that also doesn't mean that you're certifiable. Just tossing that one out there as well. We'll get back to that someday. So licensed means that you can practice within the state or the jurisdiction with which you have a license. There's another term that Donna didn't put there, and that is the concept of registered. So there are some states that register their massage therapists. There's also jurisdictions or counties or cities that register their massage therapists. Now, certification is a standard with which has a few specific things. One is that they have an educational boundary or background. The second one is not only that they have an educational background, but they have a requirement for you to maintain that standard. You have to maintain a standard specific to maintain your certification. Now let's get into the third one, which is certificate. You have a certificate of achievement, a certificate of completion, a certificate of knowledge. You know, there's several different certificates that you can have there. Let's see, Daniel says, certification of registration is what New York needs. Certification of registration is what New York needs. I guess they need to certify their registration. Okay, that's good. I would agree with that, especially when you start looking at what a certificate or what a registration body is. They need to make sure that a registration body is just registering who you are, where you are, and that you've hit a basic standard. That's all they're actually looking for registration as a category. If we're looking at certification, hey, Kaylin Bradley, it's good to see you. When you're looking at certification, you're looking generally at a certification body, which then means that you've taken a test and you are credentialed to that you know a standard, and then you maintain that process. Now, some of the certification bodies out there require you to retake a test, so you recertify. You recertify that you still have maintained that knowledge. A lot of times that's more in the medical industry. That actually gives a good standard that you're meeting and kind of researching new pieces to maintain your certification. The National Certification Board maintains that you are taking continuing education to maintain that standard, and as they up standards that you're maintaining those as well. Let's see, Daniel says, yes, to maintain your license. Daniel says New York. I'm just gonna scoot back. Thanks, Daniel. I'm just kind of a little lost. Certification of registration is what New York needs. Yes, to maintain your license, you need to certify that you have registered or certify that your registration is still complete. I think we're going to have to take a phone call someday, Daniel. Let's sit down and talk about that, because that is a different concept. You're just certifying that your registration is correct, that your address is correct. Generally with registration, you wouldn't have continuing education. Hello, Lori. It's good to see you. So when you're looking at going that direction of certifying that you're registered, registration doesn't generally confirm an educational requirement other than basics, so there wouldn't be that. And Daniel, Donna Salvello, who knows a couple of people around, she hasn't heard of that. I would love for you to explain, Daniel. If you want to call me, you've got my number. I'll put you on my cell phone, and we'll have you explain this if you want to give me a call. Oh, yeah. So, yes, they just pay the fee and proving that, provide that, yes. Go on, please, Daniel. Everyone's worried and wondering what you're talking about, Daniel. There's a lot of other pieces that we kind of connect with here, and that we really want to make sure that we have our standards up to date and connected. One of those key pieces that I want to be looking at is not only the duplication and making sure that you're not falsely passing yourself off, but I've talked about this story from North Carolina several months back. But a massage therapist decided to open his practice, and he opened a business in a town, and he hired on non-massage therapists to practice. And so they were he was having non-massage therapists do the massage, and then he decided to sell his practice to the massage therapists who were there. He left his massage therapy license and certificates, assumably, on the wall, and let his license be the perceived thing that was overseeing everyone who was working at that spa. First of all, we don't have that mentorship issue or connection. That's not kind of how that works. But then he went to another place and opened another business and sold it to unlicensed massage practitioners, and they continued on through there. All right, so let's see. Daniel, you must pay a fee that provides proof that you have taken the middle room CU requirements to maintain minimum continuing education requirements to maintain your license. I am sorry for the choppiness of my sensitive because this phone is on the fritz. Daniel, not a problem. I totally understand. In Maryland, we have a 2-tier system. Okay, so there are states that do this, that a license status and also a registration. Sadly, in my state, registration and certification mean different things. You know, it's amazing how we can look at the language and we can say, oh, look, we've got this great idea. We have this great process. However, it doesn't always look the same when we don't use a standardized language for licensing, for certification, for registration. I just really kind of want to drive this home one more time. Let's see, I graduated in 2001, something of that nature. And at that point, I had a state practical exam, a state written exam, and board certification. And in the state of Oregon, our standards were quite high. And so the written exam and the practical exam were actually at that point more difficult than the national certification exam. That has definitely corrected over the years. But most people would take the national certification exam and become a nationally certified massage therapist at that point, and they would either maintain it or they wouldn't, because it was just part of that process. And then many states actually started using that as their licensing exam. That became quite a hullabaloo, quite an issue, and really became quite problematic. So when we started looking at it, we started seeing a transition in the massage therapy profession to where the National Certification Board has upped their hours and upped their education and upped their test to really create this understanding that board certification is a standard that we want to be looking at. All right, so Donna and Ed have been chatting up a storm here. Donna has, let's see, or Ed has a link that I'm kind of scarily clicking here. Let's show everyone what link I am going to. There we go. New York State of Education. Ed, you are awesome. Yeah, license requirements, definition, general requirements. This page contacts the businesses, basic registration. Yeah, you're just going to hear me mumble as I go. New York State, massage therapist, masseuse, masseur, and or derivative of this title with the New York status required licenses as a massage therapist. To be licensed as a massage therapist in New York State, you must be of good moral character, at least 18 years old, meet education and examination requirements, meet experience requirements if applicable, have completed a course of cardiopulmonary resuscitation this 3 years prior to the licensing. Fees, let's see, we have education requirements. Yes, they are the 1,000 hours, no less than 1,000 hours. That is always a good one to be conscious of. Application for licensure in New York State, application for licensure examination. So examination is something completely different than certification and licensure. Examination just means that you passed an exam. You're taking the exam. That doesn't change things, and that doesn't really mean that you are good, better, best. It just means that you've taken an exam. I know several people who have taken the national certification exam over the past however many years in their life, and as they took that national exam, they haven't maintained their board certification. They said, oh, I was once board certified, but I'm not anymore. Well, that gives us a slight bit of a problem, because then we start seeing people who say, oh, well, I was board certified, but I'm not. That doesn't maintain that you have continued your board certification standard. So, so yeah, thank you, Ed, for giving us the New York link. And I studied that and looks for information. Yeah, I'm just reading along here. NCBT has upped their now let's up it all. Nice, Donna. Yes, we want to see that standard. We want to see a good standard qualification that is high and that actually has a system where we can stand with other medical professionals and have people recognize us as a skilled professional instead of just a working entity. That is one of those two other pieces that we want to see is the educational standard be sincere. We want to see the profession come up. We want to see all those connect together and really drive together. Hey, my brother Dan's on. Hey, Dan. Craig joined a few minutes ago. Those are two of my brothers. So we'll see if they have any interest in massage therapy. Yeah, no, that's my edge of the world. So awesome. And so, yeah, so we want to make sure that when we're looking at licensed massage therapist, we want to make sure that we can connect with the police. We can connect with those who are enforcing the law. If we don't connect with the law enforcement side of things, we're not really going to be able to shut down anybody who is changing the perception of what massage therapy is in the country. We are only perceived as prostitutes because people don't shut down the perception of massage therapy being connected with prostitution. So how do we do that? If you see something that says massage or massage therapy, own our terminology. Be conscious to say, this is who I am and this is what I do. I am a massage therapist. And as a massage therapist, these are the standards with which I maintain. We can take that through several different directions, through your licensing board specifically, and say, hey, I meet these standards. One of my friends, Adam, he's outstanding. He always makes me laugh. But one of the things he regularly gets, okay, hold on, I got to pull back. Doesn't regularly get. When he does get an email that requests something inappropriate, he responds with a standardized email that he created that really went through and says, oh, I'm a massage therapist. These are the state requirements that I have in the state with which I practice. Here are the pieces that I do. Here's the things that I don't do. And this is the standard for massage therapy. And this is a really easy tool when you get an email that seems questionable. An email that you're wondering if it actually is, if the person's being appropriate, being inappropriate, asking for something that they may not be. Hey, do you require me to wear a drape? Well, they could actually be asking, can I wear gym shorts and a t-shirt? But you may be assuming that they're asking to be nude on a table. Because you don't have that clarification, it's important to reconnect and have that piece going continuously to connect with you. Gosh, I think I've been talking so fast that the internet is going slower. Hopefully, we'll continue to get the internet stay stable with me. But let's actually go back, because I want to make sure that we're talking about the duplicates of licensure and the duplicates of a certificate. Let's see here. All right, so going back to S&T, not only having your brand and your logo from NCB on your business cards, brochures, advertisements, stationery, all manner of where it's supposed to be, but also not duplicate your NCB certificate for purposes other than verifying the verification of the practitioner's credentials. I have found very interesting that when I've worked at places that have required you to be board certified, that one of the things that sometimes they require in their file is a copy. I don't know why that's not consistent. I think that would be a good standard to have for documenting and for record keeping. If you want to make sure that no matter where you work, if you're working at a franchise, if you're a massage therapist working in a chain massage location, and the manager, the owner says, hey, we just need a copy of your license, why not give them a copy of your certification, as well as any other certificates, once again, certificates versus certification, that you hold, so that they can understand that you're holding to a higher tier. It also then goes into your file and demonstrates for record keeping that they understand your expectation. That duplicate copy of the certificate actually will not only help them know that you're good, but also remind them that you're holding true to a higher standard. So duplicating copies of things is kind of important. It's kind of that piece that people don't really connect with too often, but really kind of knowing your standards and knowing where those things are at, excuse me, is really, really kind of important. So we have Dee who joined us. Terry joined us again. Sorry for bouncing everybody off. Hope everybody is back and enjoying. Well, there's a couple other pieces that I wanted to connect with, because if we're talking about copies, and we are talking about copies right now, we need to talk about a couple of different connections with those copies. Maryland requires you to obtain a duplicate license through the state board to display. Copy of your license may on a copies of your license made on a copier are not considered official. Yay! There are several states that do that, and I love seeing that. Yes, I can take the massage therapist side of this, and they're just making more money on us, and that's a sad thing. But it's really easy to know that that person has received an official copy of a license. It's just one more of those tiered pieces there that really step it up and give you that next understanding that that state is working on maintaining good quality, to know that massage therapists who are licensed are actually licensed. It's a good tool. It's a good tool. Thank you, Robin, for sharing. There's several other ideas out there about massage therapy licensing boards, making sure that they have the right massage therapist that is attached to that license. One that's important to me is that you actually have an examiner willing to go out and look at that license, look at that person, look at that group, and really connect to say that the person who is there is actually there. So I've practiced in several states, and in some of those states, in my practice, I found it a challenge because I see something that's not going on right. I see someone who's practicing massage without a license, and I do my due diligence and my responsibility, both as a licensed massage therapist in that state and as a board certified massage therapist, and report that. And I report it to the state licensing board. And in that reporting to the state licensing board, I then now expect that feasibly it goes into the system and there's a follow through. I don't know what that follow through is, and I don't want to see them shut down and the man coming down upon them, but I do want to make sure that best practices are being met, and that if the massage therapist who's supposed to report reports, that something is done. I have an example, obviously, that may or may not be so great. I was at my office in Portland, Oregon years ago, and had a massage client come in, and he was someone I'd seen a couple of times here and there, but hadn't seen him regularly. So he came in and says, "Hey, I saw one of your coworkers." And I said, "Oh, a coworker? Who was that?" He says, "Oh, Fifi, or Tina, or TT, or whoever else." I said, "Who is that?" He says, "Oh, well, I was at the strip club, and the announcer, the DJ over the strip club, when the lady got done dancing, he said, 'Oh, and she's a massage therapist, so if you want a massage, she's got 15-minute chair massages in the back, or 15-minute topless chair massages in the back.'" And I was like, "Oh my gosh." And she was licensed. She went to school, and he's like, "Oh yeah, she said she was totally licensed." I said, "Wow, okay, so I'm assuming you paid pretty well." And he says, "Yeah, that's part of the process." And so I said, "Okay, which club was it at?" and got the name. And so I sent an email to this was in Oregon, once again, the Oregon Board of Massage Therapy, and said, "Just to let you know, this is what I heard from one of my clients. It is hearsay, but it's hearsay that I'm really concerned about, that I really want to make sure that you know that this could be happening. Please send an investigator." I don't know if an investigator went. I'm assuming an investigator went. I'm hoping an investigator went. And I plan to make sure that I will make sure that I'm safe, that I'm going to never work in a strip club. I will never work in a strip club. But being able to say that I'm helping make sure that those standards are held up are very important. "Oh, you don't want to know the money in this state?" Okay, so that's Robin. "Horrific. My husband's CPA license is cheaper to renew than my MT license. I'm sorry. See something, say something. You know, Daniel, that is one of those pieces that is responsible to us as massage therapists, right? Why doesn't everyone go to their state board meetings to see how hard our board members work? Absolutely, Donna. That is a thankless job. And whenever anything goes wrong, it's your fault. On a state licensing board, that is a lot of work. They can report information or find the correct place to report people. You know, if you don't know anyone on your state licensing board, and you don't know anyone on your professional association board, and all you do is work in your office, it's going to be really hard to present that as important information because you don't even know who to talk to. I know I pushed in massage therapy school. Every time I was teaching this, I said, you know what, not only see something, but say something, but you have homework. And that is to find out where you report a problem, where you report a challenge to licensure. What is it that you're supposed to do, and how do you connect with that? Those are those important pieces that are really standardized out there, is that you can pretty much go to any licensing board's website and make a claim or a page link to claim a problem. Now, in many states, you have to announce who you are. You have to say who you are. Because if they're taking anonymous complaints about a massage therapist, they don't have anyone to follow up with. So being able to follow up and follow through is a really important piece. You know, our board certification has the same process. If someone is doing something wrong, you can go in and form a complaint. If someone is doing something illegal and they're board certified, gosh, there has to be a process for those ethics and standards committee to actually look at that claim. Now, I don't recall if ethics and standard committee actually has a required, if you have to disclose who you are, but either way, even if you don't disclose who you are, it does give documentation for people to follow through. So if you're seeing, as I have, I used to work in Savannah, Georgia. And in Savannah, Georgia, the school that I worked at was attached to a mall. And in the mall, just down the way from the school was in a really big shop. And this little Asia massage clinic or Asia massage place was in a smaller shop. But as I walked by, I said, "Do you have a license to practice massage therapy?" And they pointed to their business license. And I said, "Well, in the state, you have to have a license to practice massage." And so being able to, point it out to people who don't know, not that I'm going to give them an excuse, but being able to point out that so that they have an opportunity to recognize the changes and the expectations is something important. So Maureen says the Ethics and Standard Committee does not see anonymous complaints. Thank you, Maureen. Yes. So there is no ability for you to be anonymous. However, it's important for you to make a complaint if you know something's wrong. I've got children. I think I've said that several times on these podcasts, webinars. And some of the blessings and challenges of children are, if you don't hold true to the standards and to the expectation that you have, they lose the desire, the witness, the willingness to follow through if you're not following through. If you say you need to do this or you're not going to be able to watch TV, and then you let them watch TV anyway, you're not setting that standard for them to have the commitment to do it. They're just going to watch TV anyway. So in our industry, as massage therapists, the state licensing board doesn't have eyes everywhere. So that's definitely a challenge. But they do have massage therapists. And they've requested that you report. And your piece is to report. And your piece is to present that. Now, we don't get the positive feedback or the negative feedback of seeing, usually we don't get the positive or negative feedback of seeing how everything goes and how everything changes. But if we do start looking at the behavioral piece and we look internally and we say, okay, I'm going to do what's right because it's right. Then once I've done that, you still get this positive reinforcement of doing something that's right. Once you have that positive reinforcement, then you got that next step. You can then go and do something else and do that right. And you get that positive internal reinforcement. You know, I know as a child, when you're young, you're given a cookie or a treat for doing something right. And then as you grow older, you're supposed to not require a treat to do something right, because you should have that positive feeling. You should have those endorphins. You should have that really positive internal working to make sure that you're doing things right and have connected. Hey, Eric Nordstrom, good to see you, buddy. I want to always make sure that as adults, we're not only expected to do things right, but we're doing things right because they're the right thing to do. You know, elevating yourself to the best you can be is something that is your responsibility. No one's going to do it for you. No one's going to change you without you changing yourself. So, as we talk about just self-improvement, I have to then go right into that little piece, once again, that National Certification Board Standard of Practice. You know, it's not going to be easy to grow. It never is. Growing is a difficult thing. Improving yourself is hard work. If you haven't done it recently, try it out. Because the national standards for massage therapy are important and really do give you an understanding that you are holding true to a higher standard. So we're going to go back to those two, S and T. Once again, next week we're going to go through U and V, and then we'll be on to Standard 2. But this week we had used the NCB logo and certificate number and certification number, sorry, not certificate, certification number on business cards, brochures, advertisements, and stationery only in manners that is within established NCBTMB guidelines. So use your NCB logo and certification number on business cards. It not only helps you, but it gets the recognition of what board certified massage therapy is about. And I would be proud to be associated with you. It's good to be able to see who you're connected with in those ways. Not duplicate the NCBTMB certificate for purposes other than verification of the practitioner's credentials. I'm still wondering if anyone has seen a duplication of a certificate for another reason other than for verifying the practitioner's credentials. If you have, send it to me. Put it in the messages. Put it in the notes. It's been great having you with me today, guys. Let's see. Who else? Who all am I going to say goodbye to? So let's see. Donna came back. We need to report and be strong as a team. The strength of our team is only because we're willing to connect and say the hard things. Melissa Spanny, it's good to have you. Lori, thank you. I needed that. Well, you're welcome. I'm glad that I could be here for you guys.
Thank you, Nathan. The hour has flown by. We hope you've enjoyed this discussion with Ethics Outside the Box. As you've seen, Nathan uses many second-hand stories of ethical situations. If you'd like to share your story or you have any questions, feel free to contact him and Nathan at educatedtouch.com. If you'd like to register for next week's live webinar, go to shop.educatedtouch.com. Under live webinars, you will see all upcoming webinars. If you have just watched this video and would like continuing education for home study, you can go to shop.educatedtouch.com under the home study options with the date or episode number to receive your exam. If you would please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, we will keep you up to date on new videos. If you'd like to attend one of our live courses, you can find upcoming scheduled events at www.educatedtouch.com. Thank you for joining us today. Be well and have an ethical day.
We'll see you guys next week. Hope everything is copacetic and exciting.